Hello and welcome to another episode of Rico's Rants. I am Rico. Today we're going to talk about the film Fantastic Four. And I'm going to set my phone down, just bear with me. So, talking about the 2015 reboot of Fantastic Four. I had problems with this film. I'm going to give it 2 stars out of 5. Um, Based on the fact that this film could have been better, and it seemed like it had two separate films sort of mashed together, and you could see that the filmmaker Josh Trank and Fox Studios just clashed repeatedly, and there was a lot of reshoots, and you could tell, like Miles Teller, his facial hair like is visible at one point, and then is like not in the next frame. And it's just um, Kate Mara has a wig, and you could tell that she has natural blonde hair at one point, and it's like you just the bottom line is that they should not have made this film. They reshot a lot of stuff and clashed when they really should just pull the plug. Fox, give it up. It's not going to happen. Fantastic Four is not going to be successful for you. The moneymaker you have right now is Deadpool. That you did a great job with. And that's the whole interesting thing is the fact that Deadpool had a first time director. Like that was his debut. This has a young budding filmmaker who is full of life and full of imagination, and he's probably in his late 20s. I mean, from what I imagine, he's probably barely older than me. But what I know about the director Josh Trank is that I was really worried that he was like gonna fucking kill himself after this film came out. Um, from what I read about him, he he had a lot of like hardships growing up. Like he was a really heavy kid. He was a loner, and like it took his stepmom to take him out and like basically socialize, like force him into like getting used to talking to people. And then he lost a ton of weight. Started making films, made the film Chronicle, which is pun intended a fantastic film. And he had his whole life ahead of him, and he does have his whole life ahead of him. And you know, you could just tell he was like, I'm going to direct Fantastic Four. This is great. I got my first major studio film. It's going to be making me millions. And then everyone fucking hates it. I don't think it's his fault. I don't think it's Fox's fault. The only fault that really I can blame is the fact that they couldn't work that shit out together. You see it with filmmakers doing it all the time. You know, I gotta mention like Joss Whedon. Like Joss Whedon delivered the Avengers. Like that is one of the greatest comic book movies ever. And then you see Age of Ultron, which I personally love a lot. I thought just I wouldn't say it was one of their worst films. I wouldn't say it was one of their better films. I just really liked it a lot. And the reason why is because it just I love seeing all those characters. I mean, yeah, it's sort of a darker film, but it's the sequel. All the sequels are usually darker. Spider-Man 2 was darker. Iron Man 2 was darker. I mean, you just go the darker route. That's just what you do. You have to have like the first origin story be original and vibrant and charismatic and make it interesting, make the characters interesting. And the second one, you can kind of unleash that dark side, not the Spider-Man 3 route dark side, but like you introduce like a more darker version, um, the side we never saw before. This movie, Fantastic Four, is all dark. There's really no redemption or charisma with any of the characters. It's very moody. It's there's I want to say I didn't really think I saw any of the characters smile at one point, which is a problem because the Fantastic Four, as a comic and as a group and as a characters and all that, is a family. This film did not exhibit a family. This film exhibited four strangers basically thrust together, or through four. Well, I guess technically five because Victor Von Doom is in the film, and he doesn't really start out as a villain. He sort of starts out as one of the group, and then he gets the same blast of powers that all the other ones do, but his just for some reason is just really bad. um, they don't connect. Like the ones that do connect are like Mr. Fantastic, who is Reed Richards, played by Miles Teller, and The Thing, Ben Grimm, played by Jamie Bell. Those two actually did exhibit like it looked like they were friends, and they were against like type in the sense that they were friendship. Like one of them came from like a bullied, childhood. He had a rough, upbringing, and then the other one was sort of a nerd, antisocial kind of geek, and then they just sort of became really close friends, and you could see that. But you didn't see that with um, Johnny Storm and Susan Storm, the Invisible Woman, and the Human Torch, which they play siblings, and there was a lot of like fan backlash about Michael B. Jordan, who is black, portraying a white character. I didn't give a shit. I thought it was actually, I didn't think twice about it. But what I did have a problem with was that fact that they didn't look like they liked being siblings. Like there was no friendship, there was no relationship, there was no sibling love. There was never really so much of a scene as like I've got your back kind of thing. Just didn't really care, and I can sort of say the same thing about Kate Mara. Like she wasn't bad, she wasn't good, she was just there. Like she just kind of filled that void of playing a role. And nothing against her. I know she's a decent actress and she can do better, but she was just this. She was just there. That's all I could really say. Um, what I did like was I liked the actor who played Doom. I didn't like the way they made Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom. I mean, just by appearance, like he just didn't exhibit the classic Doctor Doom, and that's the problem. Is that especially for filmmakers and studios, they're not really sticking to the classics. That's the problem. Is that they're trying to reimagine like the comic book characters that we love. Stop reimagining shit. Just the issues are right in front of you. Open a page and copy it on film. That's all you have to do. That's why the Avengers was so successful because they do their homework. You know, and I think maybe Josh Trank did his homework, and then Fox, uh, you know, interfered, or vice versa. I mean, there was a lot of interference you could just see. I would put this film in a film class, like say as a homework assignment. Like you point out where these clashes happened. Like try and decipher these two separate films that were just shoved together. Like that would be really interesting. I'm not recommending this film to view and to say, oh, it's a great film. I'm recommending this film just like it's a great film to dissect, and that's all it is. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of terrible films. It's not the best adaptation of the Fantastic Four. Honestly, the best adaptation of the Fantastic Four is The Incredibles. That's just the truth of it. And again, Fox, just give it up. Like you can't do it. Give it to Disney. They're doing wonders. They're doing amazing things with Spider-Man. Maybe they could do something fantastic with this fucking group. So back to Doom. His voice was hypnotic, and I read that the actor, I think his name is Toby Kebin. I can't remember his name, which is sad because I really did like his performance in a lot of stuff I've seen him in. He has a super hypnotic voice, and I read that he really like focused more on the voice than on anything else. Like he sort of plays the character physically as monotone, doesn't really kind of emit any emotion, sort of like just antisocial type of person, but his voice was really hypnotic. Another person who I really thought had a fantastic voice, and I'm using the word fantastic again, but what am I supposed to do? Was the guy who played Johnny and Sue's dad, Mr. Storm, Franklin Storm. I can't remember the actor's name, but he was the guy in who played the fucking mosquito. Sorry, mosquito just flew in my face. He played in The Mask, the movie with Jim Carrey, he played like the villain's right hand henchman, and he's got this really gravelly voice, and the Human Torch is gonna do like it's really I love really weird voices, and because I am an impressionist and I love to focus on the weirdest voice, like he has a terrific voice. Like if they did an animated version of Fantastic Four, he could play a really interesting Doctor Doom or a really interesting take on the Thing. So let me get to the thing. Let me get to the superheroes and how they portrayed him. Miles Teller, he was a decent Fantastic Four member. I mean, he was a decent Mister Fantastic. Like, I think the problem with me is I never really cared about the Fantastic Four as a comics or as a film. Like, I'm a big superhero nut. I'm a big comics nut. Never focus on them. I liked the Thing. I always thought he was an interesting character. I sort of related to his character, sort of a loner, um, all heart kind of person who is just he can't hide his affliction like the other ones can. And I sort of had that. Every teenage boy at some point just feels that they're disfigured in some way, that they're just damaged. But eventually you kind of grow to accept it, or you can hide it, or you can change it. But I loved that his heart was just always there, and he was sort of just you know, he is the heart. I keep saying he's the heart, but he is the heart. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Um, Jamie Bell, who plays him, did a good job, but I felt like Michael Chiklis was just a better thing in the 2005 version of the Fantastic Four. Miles Teller, yeah, he was okay. He just kind of exhibited the same type of acting that I've seen him in, with the exception of Whiplash. He was phenomenal in Whiplash, and he just was kind of. They were all there, like all the actors were just like, I'm in this film, like that's it. They really kind of didn't show much, and the same goes for Kate Mara. She was just there. She just filled that void. Um, Michael B. Jordan, who plays the Human Torch, is just he as charismatic as he is. I mean, he made this movie. He made the movie sort of enjoyable to watch. Um, but yeah, I mean, let me phrase the film this way. Say like Iron Man is part of that popular group. We'll call it the Avengers. In high school, like there's just that clique called the Avengers, and Iron Man is that guy that's super charismatic and super nice to everyone, and even when he's kind of being a dick, like you just like, oh, you just kind of want to be like friends with him, you want to be like him, and you are captivated by being near him. And Fantastic Four, we'll call it Fantastic Four as a person, not as a group, just like a single high school person, is that loner kid that you could tell got beaten up by his stepfather, and it just like shows up to school with like a black eye, and you really want to like go up to him and tell him everything's going to be okay, but you're afraid that he might, like, you don't really know what to say to him. All I could say to that damaged kid is that you're not damaged. You're just beaten up a little bit, and you have potential to be greater. You could change. You could get better. And that's the thing about this fantastic film in general, is that it can be better. We will eventually see a great adaptation of the Fantastic Four apart from the Incredibles. It just needs to be given to Disney or Marvel Studios. Like, it just needs to not be. You need to give it to a talented filmmaker. Not that Josh Trank is not talented. You just need to give it to someone who can tackle that. Like, someone who loves everything and has creative control that Fox Studios just clearly didn't give him. Um, so again, I didn't like the film. I didn't hate the film. I mean, it was entertaining, but the problem with it is its pacing and its editing. Literally 3/4 of the film, and I'm not exaggerating, 3/4 of the film is a straight monotone line, and then towards the end it just goes like this, and you're just kind of like, it fizzles out really, like it ends really quickly. and you're just kind of like, okay, really long origin story, okay, really, really, really long, and then all of a sudden action sequence, and then it's over, and you're just kind of like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, it's over? Like, that's it? And I had this on a DVR, and I sped up to see, like, if there was a bonus scene. And what it says at the after the credits and everything is, like, 15,000 people worked on this film, and like it was just basically saying like we apologize for this film, but this actually did like give 15,000 people jobs, so don't hate on it too much. Which kind of goes with the film. Like you don't really want to see a bonus credits because what the hell could they offer? Like it just they tried and they failed, and that's the thing about the Fantastic Four is that it's too much to take on for some reason. Just focus on Deadpool. Put Deadpool in everything, and you will have a moneymaker. I guarantee it. So I am gonna end the review. I am gonna give it 2 stars in part because I feel like bad for Josh Trank. I really hope he is okay. Fox is doing fine now apparently, but I haven't heard anything else about him. So 2 stars out of 5. What did you think of the film? Did you like it? Did you have any criticisms or anything similar to what I'm saying? I heard at one point that like they were gonna make Doctor Doom a woman, and I'm all for it. Like, I'd be curious to see Victoria Von Doom. Like, fuck it, why not? They clearly can't do any better at like the Fantastic Four and the Doom story. If you're gonna go interesting, go interesting. Don't go like don't tweak with stuff like where it's just kind of it bugs you. I mean, you have nothing else to lose. Like at this point, like So, what did you think? I'm really curious. Like, please comment, please like, please share, please subscribe. I really do like enjoying these, and I do enjoy making these videos. But I would really like some feedback if you guys can give it to me. What would you like me to review next? I have an idea building in my head of something to do with my friend Eric, who I had in a previous video. I think he and I are going to do some debating, not on a film, but on a character. So I'll get in touch with him and we'll get some ideas going. And yeah, please comment, please like, and please let me know what you think. And I guess make your lives fantastic. That was a really weak ending, but you know what? It's like 2:30 in the morning. Love you guys. Ciao.